Hi, I'm Timothy Mitchell. I am here in the facility at Mimaki in Atlanta. I am here to explain to you a 3-month project that I did in which Mimaki has placed a CJV330 in my home. And I've been running it out of my studio/garage for the past 3 months. And I wanted to take a moment to both explain this printer and also to explain what I think it does really well. Now, the printer that I have behind me here is not the 8 color. This is the dual CMYK. The printer can come in 2 primary configurations. You can do dual CMYK for really focused production speed, or you can do the expanded gamut 8 color. I'm using the expanded gamut 8 color and I absolutely love the gamut. The prints are spectacular. If you were in a fine art environment or you're in some sort of environment where you're coming from an aqueous, high quality, extended chromatic type space, but you want to go into printing, say, canvas or wall coverings or anything really that sign and display or decor market, but you don't want to lose that super high quality, this is the printer for you. It uses an exceptional print head. The print head is a Piezo variable drop, and the variable drop, probably my guess is it goes down to at least 3 picoliter. So you have very, very fine drop placement and you have an exceptional print head. Long life, accurate, very high quality. Definitely 1200 DPI. Combine that with an extended gamut ink set and you have a printer that you can move directly from a high quality sort of fine art printer in the aqueous space and go right into Eco-Solvent and give yourself outdoor durability. I love that about the printer. Now, if you want more production and you want to stick with that dual CMYK, you're still going to get a very high quality. You're just going to lose a little bit of that really strong extended gamut and a little bit of the skin tone, but it depends what you're printing. Are you focused more on the canvas market or fine art or fine quality? Or you're printing in a space where you're printing on super high quality vinyl for vehicle wraps? Then yeah, you want the 8. But otherwise, you could do that dual 4 and it's going to still look fantastic. That's first, something I noticed right out of the gate. Second, this printer has a cutter built right into it. There's a lot of workflow that I do where I would just as soon not take it off the printer and go straight to a cutter. In that case, the cutter is built in and I can use it to pretty much do any type of print and cut operation that I want. Now that's just the formal cutter, like the cutter. It also has something really quite unique that's new in the market that you're not going to see often. And I'm using this right now. So I'm trying to do a job for a friend of mine. He said, hey, I have all these posters that I want done. And I said, if they're all the same size, what I can do is I can connect the slitters to the CJV330, and then those slitters can slit all of the posters, and then there's an inline cut to finish. So in a sense, what it did is it took let's say a Fotoba, a simpler version, but it integrated it right onto the printer. So you can adjust those knives to put right along the registration marks that Mimaki provides, and it's all done right in Rasterlink. And then you can have finished posters coming right off the printer all day long. So I don't need now to go to a secondary source to have everything finished. I don't have to bring them to a flatbed. I don't have to bring them to a Fotoba. I don't have to do any of that. Anything along that workflow, especially posters, I just lay those slitter blades in there and everything slices and dices finished product out the door. I don't want to have to take that whole roll, go over and then hand cut them all. It just takes all day long. So that is a really cool feature for anybody looking to do posters, banners, vinyl, something where you're printing squares effectively or rectangles and you're doing a lot of it in volume. I could see where a wall covering could really benefit from this because you're going to get that super high gamut, great quality, and then you're also going to be able to slit right along the edges if you want to finish that way. So that's a very nice feature. Now, another thing that Mimaki offers is if you don't need that feature, you can just request to have it removed and it will be set aside and we will reduce the price, and that's that. Mimaki is the customer is always right. So if you don't need that slitter, it can be set aside and you can get a version without the slitter completely. Another cool feature that's supported in a way on the backside, because in my space, I don't have a lot of space. And getting behind the printer to load up all the rolls on a regular basis is a little bit of an inconvenience. So what does it have? It has a carousel. I'm going to mostly use 2 or 3 medias over and over again, and I have my choice medias. So for that, it's a 6mm wall covering, and then it's a LexJet canvas, and then it's a standard SAV. So I'm doing standard SAV matte for me, and that's my print and cut. And then I have the 6mm, which is my wall film, and then I also have the canvas. And all I have to do is go to the back and just turn the lever, and it rotates it right in, and then I just load in the next media. So I don't have to keep loading, I just load my standard 3. If you're doing the same thing all day long, then you just load, say, the same 13-ounce banner, put 3 of them on there, and just rotate them through. So it just makes an ease of use feature, and you don't have to keep getting back behind the printer because you can just rotate that little carousel. That's a nice feature of the printer. So built-in cutter, comes with the slitters, but that could be set aside depending if that's part of your workflow, and then it also has the carousel. All those things I really like. Now the ink comes with a bulk system. The bulk is a 2-liter and it sits down along the end of the printer. The bulk in my case includes, you know, the orange and the extended colors and everything else, and that's great. Bulk allows me to get more value. I run longer jobs. I'm not limited by a smaller size. And anytime usually you're dealing with bulk, the general rule is the bigger the box, the lower the price. So it has a 2-liter, and that's also quite nice. From my experience, the durability is very good, especially with canvas, and that's what I'm doing a lot of, is I'm printing a lot of really fine art canvas. The prints are spectacular. They're very durable. There's no odor really coming off them. They look great, they stretch well. It's everything I'm looking for in a durable, high quality, fine art level canvas, but done through an Eco-Solvent printer, which also gives me outdoor durability. Another really cool feature for me is the print heads have proved to be very easy to maintain and also very reliable. Just before I left, I checked the quality of the print heads and did a simple test print. Everything is always perfectly right there. All the nozzles are there, all the colors are there. It's been very easy to run, and it's been very consistent. It does require an occasional maintenance, but it's not onerous. It's not unreasonable, and the maintenance process is largely automated. They have a new roller that basically goes in, and then it's sort of moist, and that largely cleans the print heads and ensures that everything comes out perfectly. On another cool note, there's an inline straight line cutter, and that can allow me to finish prints and then just automatically cuts in a straight line. So it has almost all of the things you would need for a, for example, cut with a print and cut where you're doing a kiss cut, or a perf cut where you're going to do an aligner material, or you can cut straight through with the slitters. All of the cut features are incorporated, and all of them are useful, at least for my workflows, because my workflows allow me to use this particular printer to do almost everything I've got. As far as software goes, I have found it to be very useful in Onyx, Flexi, and in Rasterlink. And this is sort of the printer where I really learned how to use Rasterlink, and Rasterlink is surprisingly intuitive. I mean, it took me the better part of a half a day maybe to figure out where everything was in Rasterlink, and everything is laid out quite nicely. Rasterlink had all of the presets, or if you will, profiles, available for almost anything I'm likely to use, and I found the quality of the profiles to be very high. So I downloaded most of them in and have been using them with the media. The cool thing also about Rasterlink is it allows me to do a lot of different things, including laying out all the cutter and the slitter, so it is a pretty comprehensive rip, and it will drive the printer, and it comes with it. I'm also running Onyx and Flexi with it, and I'm building my own profiles in some of those cases, but there's more profiles on the way, because LexJet is going to become the profile king to making customized profiles for third-party rips like Onyx and like Flexi. So when you have, say, an 8-color 330, everything is dialed in because you can use our media, and it's all set, it's all ready to go. It goes through our color process, which I think is second to none. Another thing that I noticed during its operation, its mechanical operation, is it has a 3-heater system, and the heaters can be adjusted, and they really do put very little heat onto the media. Especially preheat and then platen heat, they're real minimum, and then I just use a little bit more heat on the finishing to ensure that everything goes through smoothly. I haven't encountered any troubles other than it's necessary to make sure you control that temperature, because you really don't need much of it to have it go through the printer successfully and have everything cure completely off the printer. I have observed that the take-up roll has been very reliable. It's easy to use, it's easy to put on, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. Combined with the carousel system, I find the whole feed and take up system to be really easy. It hasn't been any trouble whatsoever. A feature that Mimaki introduced in this printer, which I think took a lot of intelligence and engineering heft, was they completely redesigned the frame. And the reason they redesigned the frame is because they wanted to take these super fine drop print heads and ensure that that fine drop print head could not be affected by any vibration of the carriage itself. So they reinforced the entire frame so that as the print head passes back and forth, it has almost no vibration, and your drop size is very precise and very accurate with no overspray. And I can certainly testify that the drop size on this is exceptional. I cannot think of another product in this roll-to-roll category, honestly, that can compete with this if you want to do super accurate fine drop prints. If you were to compare this, for example, versus some more fixed drop technologies, this piezo fine drop on this printer is head and shoulders better. It's just better quality. It has a finer drop, it has a very high resolution, and it utilizes that piezo transition perfectly. So Mimaki's technology applied to these print heads, it's some of the finest quality on the market today. I would have no reservations about recommending for a fine artist to consider using this. For example, for me, it's almost the ideal canvas printer. It gives me everything I want in printing on canvas, that wide gamut. It looks fantastic, it's stretchable, and the quality is definitely there. I think that this printer is something really remarkable in this space of eco-solvent printers. It's probably the finest high-speed, high-volume eco-solvent printer on the market. If you were doing vehicle wraps, you absolutely can't go wrong. You have the stability of color that you get with piezo. Piezo is just not going to drift, and I have virtually no color drift on a day-to-day or, for that matter, a week-to-week basis. The files I send always look the same. They always look perfect. As long as I do the very elemental maintenance, which Mimaki recommends, which really doesn't take any time at all, I'm getting very consistent, constantly the same, always within the same tolerances. And if I needed to, and I haven't yet, I could always connect that to an external color device, and everything could be controlled even further. I think this printer is worth looking at. I think this printer is something that has been a little overlooked in the market. I would consider it a flagship eco-solvent printer, and I've had no issues running it whatsoever in the 3 months that I've used it. It's been very pleasant, in fact, and it has a lot of features that I recommend. If you're interested in this printer, and I think it's something you should consider, please reach out to LexJet, which is 1-800-4-LexJet, or just easier, LexJet.com. Talk to a salesperson, they'll fill you in on all the details.